All right, everybody, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, 3 o'clock hour of the Bash. It is brought to you by Jenkins. Call Jenkins for heating and air conditioning installation service and maintenance, plumbing or drain cleaning service, 609-641-6440 or jenkinsplumbingheating.com. Cam Rodgers is back from the Bleav Podcast Network. He's the host of the Bleav in the Tiger Woods podcast, and he, like all guests, appears via the Boardwalk Honda Hotline as we have the PGA happening now, happening all weekend long, and this is this is a great event. It feels like, all right, we had the Masters back to normal, but this one feels like we're really back into the heart of the golf season. Cam, what's going on?
Hey, Mike, great to be with you as always, my friend. Yes, it is very exciting this week to have the PGA Championship back in May. It all feels right. The vaccines are rolling. You know, we have the mask mandates being lifted. Things seem to be coming back to normal. So it really should be a fantastic week of golf. And Mike, by the way, we will see some big-time crowds this weekend, so expect a lot of electricity come Sunday evening.
Yeah, that's the cool part. Like, the Masters was back in its normal spot, but it didn't have that roar like we know. We might see that back here. Let's start here, Cam. This is the scene of Rory McIlroy's kind of prime here, but this has not been easy for him. But this is a familiar spot, and this is a familiar tournament for him. And I feel like, as you do and know Tiger very well with the Bleav in the Tiger podcast, he's not here. They don't really have that identifiable guy. Rory's probably one of the most identifiable if you're in my age bracket, because there's a lot of younger guys that maybe some younger fans know. But Rory is kind of like, I'm 44, so he's like, okay, there's not Tiger. Phil's kind of, get to the end. Rory's kind of that guy. So, talk a little bit about him and what this tournament looks like for him.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy is the betting favorite, and no surprise there. Recently won at the Wells Fargo Championship. And Rory was in a bit of a rut, Mike, for a while. It was his first win in a year and a half. And for a normal PGA Tour golfer, that's a pretty short amount of time. But for McIlroy, that's a long time. We're talking about a guy who has win equity every single week. He tees it up. And, of course, he won this tournament back in 2012 at the Ocean Course. So he's got the course history check. He's got the recent form check. The betting favorite pressure. We'll see how that goes against him, if at all, for Rory McIlroy this week. Look, it's really hard to win on the PGA Tour, right? It's even harder to go back-to-back. So for McIlroy, it's going to be a tall task. We'll see what happens for him this week. He's a premier driver of the golf ball. We know what he can do with his irons, and he can get red hot with his putter. And again, he knows this course very well. I actually challenge your listeners to go back and look at that leaderboard from back in 2012 at the PGA Championship. It's a long course here at the Ocean Course, but after McIlroy, inside that top 10, a lot of grinders, short game guys, putters, international guys as well. It could be a mixed bag on this leaderboard this weekend.
All right, so the Ocean Course here, very blustery. It's very windy out, as we know here on the Thursday. But, this is an interesting spot. McIlroy won a second major in a row and a fourth in his first 24 professional golf attempts. So, I mean, he seemed like he was going to be the next, big thing. And it's not that he hasn't been the next big thing, but where is he at in his career? Because I feel, again, like with no Tiger, somebody's trying to grab that. Is he that guy? Who is that guy? Who are some of the guys this weekend that can maybe kind of jump out? Because, as we know at the Masters, there wasn't that, definitive guy who jumped out with a star quality about them.
Well, here's the deal, Mike. It's not 2004 anymore. Back then, it was Tiger, Phil, VJ, a little bit of Jim Furyk, little bit of David Toms here and there, and that was really it. But now you have such an immense talent pool on the PGA Tour. McIlroy, Koepka, Johnson, Victor Hovland, Colin Morikawa, who is the defending PGA champion here, Daniel Berger, Hideki Matsuyama, who just won the Masters. So the talent pool is so much deeper now than it was, say, in the early 2000s when it was Tiger and a collection of other guys winning every single week. So for somebody like McIlroy, it's going to be hard for him to be that quote-unquote next Tiger Woods, even at this phase of his career, because you have Jordan Spieth playing really well right now, Justin Thomas, Mr. Bryson DeChambeau, who is the content king out there on the PGA Tour. So I think, to answer your question about who's going to be that guy, it's going to be a hybrid approach. Everybody's going to chip in with this. We're going to have a lot of big-time winners for the next few years on the PGA Tour because of the talent pool. But if I were to pick somebody to be that guy again, I think it could be Jordan Spieth because he has resurrected his game.
All right, Cam Rodgers with us here, the PGA. He's the host of the Tiger Woods pod on the Bleav Podcast Network. All right, let's talk about the course. Give us a little insight on this course and who it sets up nicely for.
Yeah, so it's the longest course in major championship history, nearly 7,900 yards on the scorecard, par 72, 200 yards longer than the 2012 version of the Ocean Course. It's what's called an American Links style course, which essentially means the course is fully exposed, no tree lines, all right? So it's all about the wind. We'll track the wind as we go throughout the weekend here, but it can be really unpredictable. And essentially, the wind is the only defense of this course. If there's no wind, there are going to be ideal scoring conditions throughout the week here. If there is wind, we could see a winning score somewhere around the lines of 6 under, 7 under par, because there could be as much of an 8-club difference depending on the wind here at this course. We're talking about Tony Finau hitting a 4-iron off a par 3. He's probably never done that in his life. So I think it's going to be a really unpredictable week, if you will. And again, look back at that 2012 leaderboard. Also look back at the 2015 U.S. Open and the 2017 U.S. Open. Both of those venues, the longest in major championship history at the time. But here's the thing. The Bombers weren't at the top of those leaderboards either. We're talking about international guys like Cam Smith. I like him a lot this week, Mike. Victor Hovland is my pick to win. And other grinders out there like a Louis Oosthuizen should pan out well this week. I like Victor Hovland because both of his wins have been on what is called paspalum grass. What are we playing on this week? Paspalum grass.
There you go. You're only getting that from Cam here on the Sports Best PGA this weekend. You gave your outright pick. We'll get to that again at the end because I want you to remind everybody, because people out there listening might not know who you're talking about, but they might know who Spieth is, and Jordan Spieth going for the Grand Slam here. Why do you think this is not the course for him?
Well, I think Jordan Spieth should pan out fairly well this week in terms of the stats, Mike. If you look at the spreadsheets and the numbers on paper, everything points to Jordan Spieth. If you go back to January of 2021, he is the best player in the world, and it's not even close in terms of strokes gained total. So it's all there. I mean, his iron game is elite. We know what he can do with his putter. He's got a great short game. He bleeds some strokes here and there with his driver, but that's okay because he can save himself hole in and hole out. The only thing that goes against Jordan Spieth, he's going for the career Grand Slam. A lot of PGA Tour golfers have hung on 3. Just ask Phil Mickelson with all of those runners-up finishes at the U.S. Open, right? So it's about in between the ears here for Jordan Spieth. Can he get it done and fight off all of the headlines, the pressure, everybody talking about him? McIlroy has tried it many a times at the Masters, hasn't done it yet. We'll see if Spieth can do it this week.
All right. These are 3 guys that most people listening are going to want to be watching and zone in on this weekend. Bryson, Brooks Koepka, DJ. High or low on those guys? How you feeling?
How about low on all 3, all right? I'm off all 3 of them this week. I'll start with the obvious one, Brooks Koepka. I mean, I don't know what's going on with his knee, but I'll tell you what, he's not 100%. If you're not 100% at a major championship, I'm sorry, you're not going to play well. And so I'm off Brooks Koepka. He's coming off a missed cut at the Byron Nelson, missed the cut at the Masters as well. You know, I'm staying away from him in my betting circles and my fantasy golf circles right now. Dustin Johnson, his recent form really isn't there. He's the number 1 player in the world, all right? He can pop and win anywhere. I totally get that. But in terms of his recent play, the irons aren't really there, which are typically pretty good for him. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. Maybe he finds it and he wins. And trust me, he's done that. He's gone 80 in a tournament before and then won the next week. He did it at the Travelers Championship. And then finally, Bryson. Look, I think this course should be perfect for Bryson DeChambeau, but that was the argument last week at the Byron Nelson too, and he didn't play well. Like, his driver was great, but everything else, he was losing strokes to the field, approaches, short game, putter. So it's like Bryson finished like T41 or something like that in a very weak field on a very easy course. and we're just going to expect him to figure it out this week at a PGA Championship? I don't see it. So I think Bryson is tinkering with some things right now, and we might have to play a wait-and-see approach for him this week. So I'm off Bryson, I'm off Brooks, I'm off DJ, and that could come back to bite me.
Yeah, big, cojones out of you there, putting all the big names in the back. Nobody puts baby Brooks, DJ, and, in the corner over there, but Cam Rodgers is. All right, now let's go back to your pick to win. Actually, before we do that, give us a couple value guys before you tell us who you are picking to win this again, because Prop Swap is one of our great sponsors here. This is a great tournament if you're a prop swap guy. So give us some names that you might want to buy that ticket now, and if they do really well, you could sell that ticket on Prop Swap. So who are some value names, Cam, that you like that could be in the mix all weekend long?
Yes, here's how I'm handicapping this week, Mike. Grinders, short game magicians, good putters. I think, honestly, everybody is going to miss greens this week. The wind will be a factor. The length will be a factor. Everybody essentially is in the same bucket, right? So it becomes a chip off and a putt off. And who actually has the advantage there? How about top Great Britain / Ireland player, Shane Lowry, plus 1,500 to get that done. He's a grinder, obviously the reigning Open champion. He knows link-style courses, so I like that for some value. Rest of world player is Louis Oosthuizen for me, plus 1,400 to get that done. The best putter on the PGA Tour right now, has a premier short game. He has popped at major championships before. Of course, he is a major champion, winning at the Open Championship. So as you can tell here, Mike, I'm going with the international guys on how top Englishman Matthew Fitzpatrick, plus 550, the ultimate grinder, fantastic driver of the golf ball, really good putter too. Coming off a missed cut, honestly, it's okay to me. Shorter week, rest up a bit, get ready for a major championship. Fitzpatrick is a good play. And then finally, for a top 40, I found good here, Matt Kuchar. I mean, he has been so good lately, and he sort of has resurrected his career a bit. 4 top 20s in his last 5 starts. I mean, plus 200 for a top 40. Give me that all day long. Tied for Chambers Bay back in 2000. 16th at Erin Hills. 2 big boy courses, but yet Matt's not a big boy driver of the golf ball. He's a grinder, so it works out well. I like him too.
All right, so you've got the longest course in major history, grinders, short game guys, and you said go back to the 12 leaderboard. Check that thing out here. So you mentioned earlier, by the way, you're fading Brooks, Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson. So those are names that you're not looking at. And you have a winner that a lot of people out there might be saying, wait, what? So tell us who and why.
Yeah. Mr. Viktor Hovland, 22-1 going into the week to win the PGA Championship. I mentioned the pass, ball, and grass fact. That's number 1. Number 2, third in strokes gained off the tee within the last 24 rounds. Third in ball striking. He's 4th in strokes gained tee to green going back to January. Really consistent ball striker, top 10 in birdies or better as well. You know, it was Colin Morikawa's coming out party back at TPC Harding Park at the PGA Championship. It could be the case here for Viktor Hovland at Kiowa Islands Ocean Course. He has been so consistent. By the way, has never missed a cut at a major championship. He was low AM at the Masters back in 2019, low AM at the US Open back in 2019. You want to talk about a grinder? This guy can do it. He can hang with the best of them. Give me Viktor to win it all.
Okay, real quick, because Rickie Fowler was always my guy. He got off to a good start. He was -2 early in the morning. So can Fowler hang around? I felt like 3 or 4 years ago, he was in the top 5 in everything and has just vanished. Got off to a decent start in the morning, but can he be around on Sunday?
Absolutely. You know, one thing we have learned about golf, you have your peaks and valleys, right, Mike? Rory went through a little bit of a valley, then won at the Wells Fargo Championship. Jordan Spieth was lost. I mean, absolutely lost on the PGA Tour. And all of a sudden, he's the best iron player in the world, wins at the Valero Texas Open. So Rickie Fowler is a talented guy. You may recall back in 2014, he was in the top 10 in every single major championship. He has been there. He has done that. He can totally resurrect his game. We've seen it with other guys on the PGA Tour. I think if his iron game is there, I think if his putter gets hot, he can absolutely be a factor this weekend. Didn't get a lot of chatter, Mike, going into this week. Maybe that's a good thing. Fly under the radar a little bit, be a factor here at the Ocean Course.
Hasn't got a lot of chatter in a while, man. My man, everybody who listens know that for a while there, I was picking Fowler to win almost everything because he was right there and has not done well. The last, 2 years? What was that, 3 years ago that he was in the top 5? Either 3 or 4 years ago, he was right there and has almost vanished off the tour list. But he'll be a guy. He got off to a good start this morning. He was, 2 under through 9. So we'll see if he can find that stroke through the weekend here. All right, Cam Rodgers is with us here, the national golf contributor, host of the Tiger Woods pod on the Bleav Podcast Networks. And, all right, it's going to be a great PGA Tour Championship weekend. And hopefully it gives us a great Sunday, everybody. We got the Sixers at 1 o'clock, the Lakers at 3, so that should take you right up to the final hole of the PGA Championship. So you got a busy Sunday for everybody.
There you go.
And Cam broke it all down for us here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Cam Rodgers, everybody. Cam, we appreciate it as always, man.
Always fun, my friend. Talk to you soon.
All right, Cam Rodgers, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. And, of course, when we come back, we will get into the Sixers and the NBA. Keith Smith from Yahoo Sports joins me to talk a little NBA hoops coming up next.